Ready?
So, live.
Namaste everyone. My name is Himanshu Dikshit and I am a third year law student from the National Law Institute, University of Bhopal. I thank Mr. Maithili Saran Gupta sir, who is a special DG Police Reform Madhya Pradesh, for giving us this opportunity to draft a rough bill on a very specific and very new idea, which is revolving around creating a new commission or rather an authority for scientific and technical assistance investigation and detection of crime. This authority will be meant for automated investigation. We have seen there's huge discrepancies in police detection of crime, in registering of FIRs. There have been complaints which have not been lost and turned into an FIR. There has been political pressure in lodging FIR. There has been instances where the documents or the government documents are being leaked internally by some members of the police department. All these irregularities have asked us or have compelled us to form something new, which would be flawless and which would be absolute for admitting them as a evidence in the court of law. And after considering all these situations in mind, Maithili Saran sir has proposed this idea of drafting a bill which will cover up every situation and which will give which will formulate a central level authority as well as state level authority in detecting the crime and making the investigation more automated. I have been delegated this task of drafting the bill. I joined with my colleagues who are also studying in the National Law Institute, University of Bhopal. If I am to name them, they are my best friends. They are Vidhi Saxena, Kaustubh Bhattacharya, Mahi Sarma. They all are working on the same concept. We have divided this bill, which is revolving around 12 sections, into 4 parts. Part one will be dealing with preliminary section. Part 2 will be dealing with power, function, appointment, and removal of the officers in the authority. Part 3 will be dealing with the financial provision, and Part 4 will be dealing with the miscellaneous provisions of the Act. There will be two schedules, Schedule 1 and Schedule 2, which will be attached to this draft bill. The name of the bill, if I am to name in one line, is National Authority for Scientific and Technical Assistance in Investigation and Detection of Crime. Now, without delaying it further, I would like to request my team member number one, Ms. Vidhi Saxena, to please brief us about what they have included under the part 1 called short title Extent and Introduction. Vidhi, over to you.
Good evening, everyone. I am Vidhi Saxena. I am a second year law student from National Law Institute, University Bhopal. I am thankful to DGP Sir Maithili Saran Gupta, for allowing us to work with him and assist him in whichever way possible. We have tried to give our best for this initiative. I am dealing with the first part, which consists of two sections. The first one relates with the title, commencement, and extent of the act. The name of the act, or the title we can say, is National Authority for Scientific and Technical Assistance in Investigation and Detection of Crime. It extends to the whole of India, and it will commence on the day the government of India gives the assent. The second section deals with the definition. I have tried to bring all those definitions under the ambit of this section that covers the mission and the project. I have described about the authority, the chairperson, vice chairperson, secretary, the mission, the project, the artificial assistance fund, and all the possible authorities and committees and terms that are relevant for this act. Apart from this, I would like to highlight the point that this part, the definition part, is a very important part of any act because it helps in creating clarity and removes vagueness, and it also allows the lawmakers to provide interpretation, keeping in mind the definitions given in the act. Further, The second part deals with the national and state authorities, which is dealt by Kaustav. Over to you, Kaustav.
Hello everyone, I am Costa Bhattacharya. I'll be dealing with part 2 of the draft, which is power and functions of the authority, along with the composition, appointment, and removal of the members of the authority. Coming to the powers of function, we just want to point out that the authority would be strictly helping, assisting, and enabling in the backdrop for the various objectives and goals, and would never try to usurp the power of any state or union government concerned. Coming to the powers of the authority has been divided into 15 broad points in the draft bill. But if we look into them, the 6 or 7 broad categories can be pointed out as the follows. First of all, the authority would help for online recording and registering of complaints and FIRs through web portals by the grievance. Furthermore, the authority would help in recording of the witness statements of both on an organization level of certain organizations and also on an individual level. Furthermore, the authority would help in collection of evidences. In this draft, the evidences have been distinguished into 4 broad categories. Number 1, the crime scene evidence. Number 3, the legal requisition evidence. Number 3, the human input evidence. And number 4, the equipment evidence. In order to define all these 4 kinds of evidences, we have Schedule 2, which has 4 lists: list A, B, C, and D, which has all the definition of all these various kinds of evidences. Furthermore, the authority would help in identifying and finding hotspots, which can be termed as zones or regions which are crime prone with increased criminal activity over a given period of time. With the help of this, the Commission would enable the Union and the state governments to keep a track record of the criminals and the repeated offenders so as to, number one, to keep an public eye on them, and number two, to rehabilitate them, to develop a proper skill set for them so that they can come back to the main course of life. Furthermore, the Commission would help to give a certificate of acknowledgement and a certificate of certainty to the collected evidence. In the court of order, their vitality and their veracity can be easily proved on by the prosecuting parties. Also, further on, the Commission would try to engage the various stakeholders, such as the volunteers, the members who can be thereon to record and report the offences by giving them proper incentive such as volunteer funds. Coming to the functions of the commission, this commission would try to deal with the internal matters of the commission itself by various forms, such as by maintaining rules and regulation for the internal regulation, and also by checking an eye on the disciplinary measures of the commission itself. Coming to the composition of the commission would consist of 9 people, one among whom would be a chairperson, and the second would be a vice chairperson, and the third amongst them would be a secretary. These people would be selected by a panel constituted by the Home Ministry, which would have 4 members: a member from the Home Ministry, a nominated member from the UPSC, a nominated member from the National Commission on Human Rights, and a nominated member from the Interstate Council. Coming of the tenure of the members over here would be of 2 years, and further on they can resign by writing to the Home Ministry with an appropriate reason. Also, salary and allowances would be charged on by the Constitutional Fund of India, and they would be decided by the authority at given basis from time to time. Further on, we would like to state that this authority would work on 2 folds. First of all, they would work at the state level, and also they would work at the central level. At the state level, the state authority would be under the direct control and direct supervision of the national authority, and the national authority can always nullify any finding of the state authority. Further coming on, one of the important functions of the authority would be to ensure the privacy of the data of the grievance and complainants by keeping a proper check and balances of the raw data and inferences. Any use of this data by the internal or external member should be under the supervision of the authority. The authority would also keep an eye about the eligibility and the removal criteria of its member. In order to be a member of the authority, the person has to be a retired police officer or a person qualified to be a judge of a high court or an advocate with at least 10 years of practice. Sorry, or a person who has wide experience in matters of public administration, or a person who has special knowledge in the field of artificial intelligence. Coming to removal, a person who has been of unsound mind, who has been discharged insolvent, who has been a member of parliament, or who has been convicted of any offences can be said to be the ones who would be removed on from the authority. Having said that, I think the composition, the tenure has been made clear, and also the powers and functions of the authority. And now I will request my friend Mahi Sharma to discuss to you all about the financial provisions of the authority. Over to you, Mahi. Sorry. Sorry, I think we are facing a technical issue. Mahi Sharma would be joining us soon. I think we are unable to find my. There might be a connectivity issue due to the cyclone ongoing in the state of Bengal and Orissa. I think if anyone wishes to have any problem regarding the issues, we can directly comment in the comment box.
We can discuss, I think we can discuss the financial provisions in brief. Since Mahi is not here, the person who dealt with this provision, who dealt with these provisions, we can give a brief idea about how we have tried to incorporate this idea in our bill. So for the fourth part consists of the third part consists of the financial provisions. It talks about the funds and grants from the central government that will be provided to the national authority and to the state authority. At the same time, this we have kept in mind in ensuring that these funds are used specifically for the purpose that this mission tries to incorporate, that this mission tries to uh, deal with. So I think cost of you should start with the next part till our colleagues join.
Hello. I think as we have done with part 1, part 2, and part 3 of the draft, let us now come to the part 4 of the draft, which is basically the miscellaneous provisions of the draft, which has been drafted by Himanshu. So I am gonna let you guys through these provisions. So the said that the authority would definitely have a common seal, which shall be used only at the order of the authority, and also there would be no personal liability in case of the authority. That means if any member does anything, that cannot be questioned in any court of law based on the personal capacity. Furthermore, there would be a privileged communication. That is, if any employee, officer, or agent of the authority or any person retained by the authority shall not be competent or compellable to appear as a witness at any legal proceeding. Furthermore, there has been a provision that if there has been any false information that would be furnished to the authority, there would be a criminal proceedings and liability for the same. There shall be an annual report of the authority, which shall have a financial statement of the authority, the description of the activities of the authority, statistical information of the authority, and any recommendation that the inspector general must make to the authority. And furthermore, the regulation shall be made by the authority themselves regarding the appointment, discipline, appeals, code of conduct, training, recruitment, and safety of the authority. Last of all, we have Schedule 1, which discusses about the meetings of the authority. The authority shall have at least 4 meetings in every financial year, and the gap between two meetings shall be 4 months at the maximum. Further, if there is any conflict of interest, the member of the authority shall not take part in a particular meeting or discussion and shall be told to be resigned. And lastly, uh, we have that there shall be a disclosure of conflict of interest which shall be made compulsorily by the members of the authority. I think that for the draft bill right now. If you guys have any suggestions, you can share with me. So this mission had been taken with an objective because the police personnel from the present day have been overburdened and overstressed. The objective was to deburden and de-stress the police personnel involved, and so as to ensure a competent investigative and crime detection procedure. Further on, it was the idea to ensure that uh, evidences and FIRs and complaints are registered on the same, and they must be registered with proper. I think Vidhi is in a better position to explain the objectives and mission of the project. So over to you, Vidhi.
The objective of this project is to introduce automated information. The mission talks about introducing artificial intelligence and reducing crime. The ultimate target is to make India a crime-free India. Every country cannot be completely crime-free, but we want to reduce this fear among the from the general public that there is a crime in India. To work on this initiative, it is very important for us to introduce artificial intelligence, because with the help of intelligence we will try to bring in the high tech devices and informations that could help investigating officers in investigating and detecting crime. Apart from this, we have also talked about the objectives and the privacy concerns of the general public. and how are we going to deal with the people who disobeys the law, or people who do not go with the conformity uh, and release this sensitive data to the general public or for their personal gains.
So if you guys may, I can talk about how this draft is going to protect the privacy of the citizen. First of all the raw data would be protected by an interface controlled by the authority with proper competent technical guys on the artist part controlling the same. Furthermore, only inferences and leads would be given to the police official investigators, and also any use of the data for any ulterior motives by internal external people would definitely attract penal provisions leading to imprisonment up to 7 years. That's why we wish that the privacy would be definitely taken care of by this bill itself.
Kaustubh, can you please repeat what did you just say, because I could not catch up.
So
You are
I
inaudible
was
to me.
talking
I
about.
cannot hear you.
Can you hear me now? Hello? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Hello? Can you hear me now?
Since there are technical glitches, I would like to talk about the vision of this project. The vision entertains the journey from the current journey of uh, the police investigation tends to we would like to highlight the current situation of investigation, which is that the work is so much that it burdens our officers in investigating crimes, and it is making us a tiresome job to detect crime and reduce it in a speed that is expected from the general public. In order to assist our officers, we have introduced this mission, which talks about three kinds of certainties. Five kinds of certainties: certainty of cognizance, certainty of detection, certainty of conviction in majority of offences on account of sufficiency of evidence, certainty of prevention in majority of cases using predictive analytical tools and dynamic prepositioning of policies, certainty of identification and rehabilitation of criminals and other persons with propensity to commit crimes. Certainty of cognizance or reporting of FIR, it focuses on multiple friendly channels of reporting of crime in indulging visual police stations. Reporting of police station under the eye of CCTV and microphone, creating a video of reporting which would become integral part of FIR. Reporting through FRVs, the first response vehicles, that is 100 and 102 number system. The FIR so covered would have signature of complainant and would be routed to CCTNS for acceptance and signature of SHO, thus enable CCTNS to digitally record FIR. Web portals, web-based, app-based recording of FIR using individuals' kiosks, poor, weaker, illiterate, and less tech-savvy population may get support from registered and well-trained nearest community volunteers. Virtual police station is in due course of time would also be a reality, thus providing the option to report FIR without any hiccup or problem. The second certainty talks about certainty of detection and collection of plenty infallible evidences. The system provide powerful assistance in smart investigation by the investigating officer and help in collection of evidences. System will help in preparing a draft challan with full details of evidences and who will provide them in and it will help in providing those evidences in court of law. It would also enhance the prestige and self-esteem of the police, as they would also be respected as effective police, because this will help in reducing crime and reporting at the very moment the crime is committed. It also helps the general public to take cognizance of the crime whenever they see, and it will provide an incentive to the general public in reducing the crime. Third cognizance talks about certainty of conviction. This means that that a person who is accused of the crime is convicted as soon as the evidences are sufficient enough to prove him so. The detection strategizes with full support of technical scientific IT tools, which would be in a position to work on hundreds of infallible evidence, which will be fully supported and armed with proof of relevancy. Plenty of evidence from conduct before and after commission of an offense. These evidences can be digital evidences, non-digital evidences, volunteers and observer based. Proof of chain of custody, proof of relevance and admissibility, proof of integrity. The fourth one talks about certainty of prevention using of predictive analytics to proactively preposition police for the prevention of crime with micro details regarding conversion, movement, and other informations. We may use predictive tools proactively to identify next move. Police may be dynamically pre-positioned to prevent the crime. They may be prosecuted with proofs wherever preparation to commit an offence is also cognizable offence. They will be prosecuted. In other cases, suitable preventive action would be initiated as per the provision in law. The last one talks about certainty of rehabilitation of criminals and other persons with propensity to commit crime to enable them to become good citizens and help nation. The population with criminal records or other persons who are having propensity to commit crimes would be identified. Well qualified and properly trained volunteers would interact with them to identify their skill sets and other capabilities. Their interests and inclinations would be captured to work and sustainable rehabilitation strategies for them. Since committing crime would not be a profitable and low risk options, thus they would like and appreciate any initiative to rehabilitate them. Such people would longer depend on crimes for their survival and would like to live with the honor of would no longer survive on crime and would like to live with honor of good citizens. Each criminal is endowed with special capability which they are presently using in negative dimension to commit crimes. The same capability could be harnessed in positive direction and they may contribute constructively for society. So effectively, no criminal or hardly few criminals would be left in to commit crime, and they would also be effectively and efficiently dealt with certainty and conviction. Therefore, we may successfully minimize the population who may resort to commit crimes. Further, let us talk about details of technologies, digital requisitioning of data, information, and documents, including CCTV and IoT devices footage. Use of technology. Project is relying on the use of a wide spectrum of technologies to obtain optimum results with deburdening and de-stressing police. For this, we will use certain apps, artificial intelligence, big data, relational database management, data mining, natural language processing, image video analytics, geospatial and spatial analytics, analysis, facilitation apps for investigation of crime, thus integrating police, community, legal requisitioning from various financial and non-financial institutions, predictive analytics, integration with government departments for rehabilitation of susceptible population. Next is API integration of CCTV system with the distributed intelligence to ensure availability of CCTV footage as evidence for investigation. Next is use of IoT devices to capture evidences from criminal clusters, hotspots, and routes to and places frequented by the criminal suspects. The next is special features for women, children, and other weaker sections. For this, we have four uh, technological ideas. Those are emergency SOS button to convey our emergency, integration of 5 chosen friends and relatives to be kept informed about any emergency. They can inform about suspicious characters, persons, even before any negativity happens. They can give their feedback, suggestions, and grade the service. Thus, their input would be used to further improve our response to them. Further, the project talks about organizational structure of National Commission for Investigation Support, which is followed by a detailed steps that would be entertained. I think Kaustav is in a better position to highlight the special features of this step. Kaustav, over to you.
Hello everyone. So what Vidhi was talking about the how the commission would help us to get a detailed picture of the crime scene, crime investigation and report, and thereby leading to the conviction. So basically, what the commission or the authority is going to do, the authority would work on a fourfold manner. First of all, it will help in registering a proper complaint by the grievance. So in this step, we will ensure that everyone who has any grievances or even simple stakeholders or volunteers like the civilians or the passerbys can definitely register a complaint over there through web portals or through proper registration. Furthermore, the Commission is going to ensure that every evidence that is collected from the evidence whether every witness statement that are collected from there itself, it will ensure that uh, that proper certificate of completion and certificate of acknowledgement are presented to the evidences so as to ensure that they go out in the court in a better state to be verified. Furthermore, it will ensure that all the data are protected by making the raw data only accessible to the commission members and the finer details and leads and inferences to be presented to the investigating officers. And lastly, it will also ensure in proper vigilance and rehabilitation of the criminals by keeping an eye and deciding the hotspot areas and thereby telling them to develop proper skill set so that they can be properly reinforced back in the proper main course of life. So, to summarize this all, this authority would be a great step in achieving the dream of crime-free Bharat by ensuring that the federal structure is held up and proper assistance is reached out to the union government and the state government. Thereby, it was a really interactive session to be with all of you, me, on behalf of the respected DGP Sir Maitri Sharan Gupta and also my colleagues Himanshu Dikshit, Mahish Sharma and Vidhi Saxena. Say goodbye and thank you to all of you. Please tell us your valuable inputs and suggestions in the review box. Thank you.